This is our presentation. It's The Myth of the First Thanksgiving by Eliana, myself, Lena, and Mariela. And this took place in the 1620s. So, so our myth is, of course, Thanksgiving. As you can see, some of the depictions to the right in the first picture, it shows the feast and all the sharing. So Thanksgiving has always been pictured as a friendly celebration of harvest and sharing between the Native Americans and the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims are also often deemed the founders of America, um, even though they're not the original people that were there, obviously. They are depicted as saviors to Native Americans, who are often described as other, savage, and uncivilized. So, as you can see to the picture in the bottom right, it shows a Native American man, um, I guess, killing or injuring, harming a white woman. So that is a Thanksgiving myth. It's not actually like what it's depicted as. So some background information that's important to know is about the Wampanoag tribe. So they're also known as the people of the first light. Their high chief in 1620 was Massasoit. They are indigenous to the area comprising what is now Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. The population of descendants of the Wampanoag tribe today is about 4,500 people. So they're still ongoing. They never left. And their voices are never spoken of in the Thanksgiving myth narrative, even though they're so important to understanding what really happened. So to the left is a picture of a Wampanoag warrior from Britannica. More background information that's important to know is about the Pilgrims, so the people who came and settled in the Americas from England. They originally arrived at the Wampanoag village of Patuxet in 1620, according to the Smithsonian, and they struggled greatly during their settling with disease and death, starvation, all of that. And nearly half of all people who arrived in the Mayflower, 50 out of 102, died from disease or exposure. And to the left, we see pilgrims, some of their standard wear, outfits.
For the ways the myth has been perpetuated, the Thanksgiving myth was reinforced by memorials, literature, holiday marketing, and school curriculums. During the mid-1800s, there were romanticized paintings and stereotypical images of the Pilgrims and Indians celebrating the first Thanksgiving. There were also campaigns to make Thanksgiving a national holiday, and these campaigns were successful as Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday in November to celebrate gratitude and unity amid the chaos of the Civil War. To the top right, you can see some cutout images of stereotypical Native Americans and Pilgrims. And on the bottom, you can see a campaign to make Thanksgiving our national holiday. To deconstruct the myth of the Wampanoag being savages, we must first know that they had interacted with Europeans for nearly 100 years before the arrival of English settlers. They clearly followed a certain lifestyle, order of life, tradition, and religion, and also had their own language. Native American tribes were all vastly different and developed in a variety of ways. It's completely inaccurate to lump all tribes together like a monolith, as is done with the Thanksgiving myth, even though the Wampanoag are the only ones involved. And to the right, you can see some members of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe today. To continue, the Wampanoag only decided to assist the English settlers after careful observation, negotiation, and exchange. The first Thanksgiving wasn't the first, however. Harvest ceremonies and festivals had been an integral part of the Wampanoag lifeways for thousands of years. The Wampanoag were giving thanks long before the English had settled. The English were facing disease, and the Wampanoag had just gone through a disastrous plague. And to the right, you can see a quote from Smithsonian. Their interactions had much more to do with political alliances and diplomacy than a building friendship, and this ties to the fact that the Wampanoag and Pilgrims didn't always have good relations with each other. The two recordings of Thanksgiving are in Mort's Relations by Edward Winslow and of Plymouth Plantation by William Bradford. Both describe a great 3-day feast with entertainment, arms and fish, fowl, deer, and more. To the bottom left, you can see Mort's Relations by Edward Winslow, and to the right is a document of Plymouth Plantation by William Bradford, written in 1620 to 1647.
Beginnings of Colonial Superiority Complex. In Chapter 3 of his book, The Myths That Made America, Henry Hall states that of Plymouth Plantation by William Bradford did a lot to create America as the promised land of the Pilgrims. The Mayflower Compact seen to the right in 1620 created order and government among the settlers. However, it also established a convent of God, which already begins to play into the feelings of righteous purity amongst the colonists. The Pilgrims established here that they would spread the lifestyle of their God and the King in England and further erase Native American culture. Deconstructing the myth, the betrayal. A treaty with a list of agreements was made among the English and Wampanoag, which saved the English colonists. Massasoit kept the treaty for the rest of his life, while the Pilgrims eventually broke contact. The picture to the right is the meeting that Governor Carver and Massasoit had for the Mayflower Compact.
The treaty.
Yeah. After Massasoit's death, his son Metacom led the Wampanoag tribe. After endless, awful, and degrading treatment by the settlers, Metacom started a revolt, which ultimately ended in the defeat and the death of him and other leading chiefs. Survivors either fled or stayed and fell victim to assimilation, especially converting to Christianity. Benefits for the makers of the myth. The Thanksgiving myth makes colonists look better and portrays friendship that wasn't really there. It hides the actual brutality and betrayal inflicted upon the Wampanoag by the Pilgrims. It erases Native American culture, is dehumanizing, and silences the voices of the Wampanoag so the colonists' lifestyle, value, and beliefs can prevail. It was contributed to assimilation into colonist lifestyle. This has been going on for generations since then. In conclusion, people are recognizing the Thanksgiving myth more and more and learning of its inaccuracy. Uncovering the truth of this myth will allow people to gain a new perspective of Native Americans and Pilgrims. They will no longer be seen as savages or heroes.
Thank you for listening to our deconstruction of the Thanksgiving myth.